They say that ignorant people never learn. They say that smart people learn from their mistakes. But they say that the most intelligent people learn from others' mistakes. I'm a 20-year-old entrepreneur, and I have had an opportunity to meet people who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond that have done amazing things as a Christian, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, and so on. And so I am able to learn so many lessons, both with what they're doing amazing, but also where they may have gone wrong in the past. And I was speaking with a friend the other day who I know the dad and the son and about to meet their wife. And it's really cool because I am in real estate, but I'm very passionate about mental health. And it turns out that my friend's dad slash wife owns wife slash mom, the dad and the son, owns a mental health practice that has 14 therapists in multiple locations. They're a great public speaker. They've written multiple books, and they're doing great stuff in the mental health space. And so, just thinking about all these doors that open, all these opportunities that come up to you when you just are true to yourself. When you're true to yourself, you meet these people, and it's like not even intentional. Because I could go out and see, oh, this guy owns a mental health practice. This guy owns a mental health. This guy owns something cool that I want to learn about. This, I'm not even doing that. It's coming to me, and it's a power of both being humble and also being intentional. Being intentional because you still have to reach out to your network, right? It's easy to go to a networking event and get 20 business cards and never message them. It's more difficult to go to a networking event, follow up, build relationships. So I really, really encourage you guys all to do that. Now, another guy I met this week who is a multi-8-figure entrepreneur, but more importantly, a son of God, a man of God. It's really cool because, he has people in his life who, from a money standpoint and even from a spiritual standpoint, might be better people to hang out with than myself, right? Because I'm new in my faith and I am new as an entrepreneur. And so I'm not able to provide as much value to him, though the value I can provide to him is, in real estate, I can provide deals, but also I can provide, someone that helps him in a spiritual and mental space, because a lot of these guys who are older, who are accomplished, they enjoy mentoring people. And so another guy that I've known for maybe a year now, maybe 6 months, somewhere in there. And this guy's also a great guy, has been through a ton of stuff. And dude, he's killing it now. He's has like a 246 unit apartment complex he's about to close on with 3 partners. He's going to be a 25% partner. I mean, it's amazing to see what people in your network are doing, and he's bringing me opportunities too, because he has lots of relationships in the same space. So amazing what it can do, what being true and building relationships can do for you. And then, man, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Praxis, but man, if you are not familiar with Praxis, you need to familiarize yourself. I believe their website is praxislabs.org. Check it out. Check it out if you're a aspiring entrepreneur, nonprofit leader, redemptive leader. There was an event this past Thursday, that was amazing. There was multiple 8-figure people, 9-figure people, maybe even 10-figure people. But more important than that is they were all faith-based. They were all believers. They were all men and women of God. And so the first person who spoke was someone who, what I learned from them was giving back, because they are in an industry where it's very easy to be exploitative. And the biggest people in that industry are exploitative. And so they only have 9 products, and they are a vitamin supplement company. And so in that industry, it's easy to make 40, 50, 100 products, but they are only building products that they know they can be the best in. They are only doing trials, not on monkeys or whatever else, other companies use. They are doing human clinical trials to make sure that products are actually good for those who take them. And not only that, but they also donate vitamins to underprivileged children with every single order. Isn't that amazing? They have donated over 2.4 million vitamins, super bites. If you want to check out a company, it's called Previnix, David Block, Previnex. Check it out. Next person was another super cool guy. Looks like he should be in Hollywood, but Joel Kirk, Discovering Broadway. He has a nonprofit that's helping Indianapolis build a national arts identity. He's helping Indianapolis have access to the show industry. He's helping Indianapolis build a culture and influence culturally the show business. And so he was mentioning that Indianapolis is known for hospitality, but we don't have our own, and we don't have our own national arts identity, which is the problem they're trying to solve. And it's amazing to see what he's bringing here. And what's even more amazing is what God has done for him. God has, in the last year, they have had 47% growth in the last year. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that inspiring? Another guy, Rohit Jasinian, amazing guy. I had a chance to talk to him. He's an app developer. He owns the application Coda, and their motto is "Work is good." When you think about your work, do you think about it's good? I love it. I like what I do. Do you feel fulfilled? Because the truth is, over 70% of the U.S. workforce feels unfulfilled. He posed a question that I love. That's a big part of my personal brand is, what is my purpose? And I could talk on purpose for several hours, several days, there's a book that I will be writing that's on purpose. And that's how powerful purpose is. Without a purpose, you are lost. They say if you don't know where you're going, then any way works. But if you know where you're going, you need to go a certain way so that you can reach that end goal, that purpose, that you can achieve mastery. You can seek freedom while being true to yourself and use of time and access rewards for doing so. And ultimately, you can leave a legacy. You can live with purpose that leaves a lasting legacy through others. Other person was Brittany Whitenack. And she is an inspiration. She started a candle business about 10 years ago. And in COVID, it really took off. The issue was it was COVID. And so she had no employees and she had tons of orders to fulfill. So she had family and friends who worked 13-hour shifts to push through and fulfill the orders. She did $16,000 in sales the first year. Exciting, right? Mm. Now, she has generated over $30 million. She has provided over 1.5 million candles, and she has provided 167 jobs while being voted a great place to work in top 20 in the nation in her category. She has 40,000 customers in 650 stores. And all she did is start creating candles as a hobby that turned into a $10 million a year business. She started at craft fairs and pop-up markets. She has 190,000 person audience. Self-funded. She's forming an advisory board. And she is extremely humble. I mean, when you think of someone like this that's accomplished what she has accomplished, it reminds you of yourself, doesn't it? It reminds you of, I'm humble. I have hobbies that could be sold. I could start a small business. I could start going to some fairs and pop-up markets here and there, and I could generate 16,000 my first year. I can do that. And then with faith, you end up with 40,000 customers, 650 stores, $1.5 million candles, 167 employees, a $30 million generated, 190,000 person audience. Isn't that inspiring? Isn't that amazing? That gets me lit up. And then Builders and Backers, beautiful organization. They help provide experience and money to test out ideas of new entrepreneurs or new ideas of entrepreneurs. Brandon Mott, he is the founder of a co-working space. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to break down the barriers that prevent communities from bonding. Because, I mean, even just think about your neighborhood. I know in my neighborhood, we really don't talk to many people. And we should network. We should have relationships with those that literally live next door. But we don't. And I'm not going to say they're to blame. I'm not going to say I'm to blame. I'm just going to say, there are barriers that prevent communities from bonding. And what Brandon is doing is he's knocking those barriers down. Inspirational. Candace Jurick from the DMV, she created a car club, which at first glance can sound silly, but ultimately it's about breaking down barriers that prevent communities from bonding. She created a club that helps people bond who have at least one relationship. Chris Spangle, good friend of mine. When you listen to a podcast, do you feel like you have a relationship with the person that's hosting the podcast? When you listen to my podcast, you feel like you have a relationship with me. A lot of people do. And this becomes a parasocial relationship, which means you know me very well. And it feels like we've known each other for years. But ultimately, when I see you, I don't know who you are. And so a stat that he brought up is 28% of millennials have no close friends. And that's an issue. Because a lot of podcasters, we have an emphasis on relationships over downloads. We have a emphasis on downloads over relationships. We don't care about, oh man, I'm going to go meet one of my podcast listeners. No, we care about getting more podcast listeners so that we can make more money, so that we can get more clout, so that we can, and it never stops. So his idea is to host local social events and life podcasts that are down to earth. It makes us look human, which I hope is what, going through this kind of stuff, although it might be seeming boring compared to some other episodes, I hope that's what this is doing. Daniel Saldi, amazing dude, helping missionaries get jobs and good jobs when they come back from overseas. He was inspired because his parents were missionaries. And so, if I remember correctly, he was a missionary child. Great guy, great things. If you're a missionary, tap in with Daniel and he will get you set. Man, this next one I really liked, and I haven't gotten a chance to meet him yet, but Eric Maitlen. He started a local band years ago, and later down the road, it turned out his niece was a cocaine addict. And so he's passionate about addiction, solving that problem. And now what he's doing is he's creating a safe place, creating a safe space for disabled people. Great guy. James Lewis, Phil Clay, these guys were Black entrepreneurs, which is, still to this day, they are viewed, I don't want to say as less than, but they are, I guess, not as expected to perform well. If you have $1 million business as a Black person, it's, oh, go you. But as a white person who's, around other people like this, it's 1 million is great, but it's just start. And it's, it's also about impact, and they are making an amazing impact on the world. They have a business that's on confidence and leadership skills, personal development. Hoping to get a meeting with them this next week, as they are very inspirational people. Amazing people, amazing speech too. He gave a great speech, so it's clear that he's, into public speaking, has probably done it before, and great people. Jenny Elkings and Deneen Attard, soft skills and leadership abilities. Similar thing to James and Phil. Joel Austin, he is a software salesperson. He has a company that helps other companies implement Salesforce into their business. So he works with Redemptive businesses and other businesses to help them be more organized and serve their clients better. That's what we need in this world. Is we need entrepreneurs who are willing to, in a sense, take a back seat, be behind the doors, right? Behind the scenes, helping other companies serve the world better. Tom Lernihan, what's next? Redemptive Investing. He's a CIO, Central Investing Officer at his fund, which is a faith-based investment fund. And he brought up a stat that was $500 billion in USA charitable donations last year. The issue is that's about 2% of the US GDP, and there's 250 trillion investable assets. He said Indianapolis is the leader in redemptiveness, and we can really, in Indianapolis, be a part of the change, a part of the charitable donations, a part of building that. And then another entrepreneur that was really, really unique was Polk Stables is what they're rebuilding. But John and Chris Watkins, they are large investors in Cohatch. And how they worded it is they are trying to make Town Hall 2.0. Cohatch, if you're familiar with it, is, or if you're not familiar with it, is a local co-working space where many entrepreneurs work out of. And so it's a really, really cool place to work. I go there multiple times a week myself. And also they are in redemptive real estate. So they buy properties that have had, a lot of times have had crime, or they've just been not really taken care of. They buy those, they repurpose objects that are found in the space, signage, elevator doors, lockers, etc., into artful displays, which is amazing. They utilize murals and graphics to visually tell the story of the area, and for this case, Polk, which was a dairy place, a dairy farm, in surrounding neighborhoods. They are incorporating materials that complement and enhance the existing environment, and are maintaining the story character of the building through preservation of the historic architecture. It's really cool. It's really, again, it's really inspiring. And I'm probably boring you right now, but if you heard these guys, if you heard all these people speaking, you would be inspired. I'm telling you. Look all these people up. Look all of them up. Folklore, Joanna Taft. She has a micro museum, which is, I think museums are great, but oftentimes they can become political, where one person or the elites control what's in the building. What's cool about her museum is the neighbors in that area, which I believe, if I remember correctly, it's in like one of the poorest areas of Indianapolis. The neighbors are choosing the artifacts and the stories. And they have a little barcode that you can scan, or you can scan the item, I think with their app or something, to get the story, where it's literally the person who brought it in makes a video on why this is in the museum. Really, really cool. And then last but not least is someone who's actually going to be on a podcast here soon, Greg Enas, one of the most inspirational leaders I've ever met, who is both a Christian, an entrepreneur, and calls himself a venture catalyst. And he kind of ended a night saying, the Indianapolis or Indiana is the heart of the U.S. and Indianapolis is the heartbeat of the U.S. And so if you live in Indiana, I just encourage you to think about that and think, how can I help? How can I serve? What is my calling? How can I give back? Or if you're not at a point where you can give back, how can I get to that point? How can I seek help so that I can in the future help? Because sometimes we do need help ourselves first. Really cool. Overall, amazing people. Was an honor to be able to meet these people. And man, if you live in Indiana, definitely recommend getting in contact or looking them up. If you don't live in Indiana, still look them up, but go out into your local community, and I guarantee you'll find people similar to Greg Enas and all these other people that I've just mentioned. I hope you guys have a blessed week. Thanks so much for listening. Stay cool.